James Blake ranks among the best on the pro tennis circuit. He's #1 in the U.S. and 5th in the world. He's also become one of the hottest sex symbols in professional sports. But even with all of this swirling around him, the 27-year-old New York native finds time to give back at home. James Blake is our slice of life. "2006 was an incredible year for James Blake. He won 5 singles and became the #1 player in America. This year, he's the 5th seed in the world and won the Sydney International for the 2nd year in a row.
The biggest thing about being a #1 American is the voice it gives me to give back. I think those kind of things, the little exhibitions I do, the charity events I do in the off-season are more important than the matches I played.
At the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program in New York, James spends an evening balancing his tennis career with his humanitarian efforts.
James Blake came from this area and he made it big, so it encourages me.
Born in New York in 1979, James' interest in tennis goes back to when he was 3 years old. His dad volunteered at what was then called the Harlem Junior Tennis League. His father would bring little James in a stroller and let him out to hit tennis balls.
I looked up to my dad. He was always on the court with me. He was always either on the court with me or the court next to me because he was volunteering, teaching the clinics.
Growing up, James played competitively. In 1999, he turned pro. But his budding career was almost over before it got started. Nearly 3 years ago, he injured his neck falling into a post during a practice game in Rome.
I was very scared. I got the wind knocked out of me, couldn't really breathe, and didn't know what to do.
During his recovery, he learned his father was hiding the fact that he was dying from stomach cancer. 2004 was not a good year.
That's the year I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but I still say that breaking my neck, fracturing the vertebrae, was the best thing that happened to me because I got to be around my dad for the last 6 weeks of his life, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Within a 2-month period, James had broken his neck, watched his father die, and with his body giving out, developed shingles, which left his face partially paralyzed.
I believe now that things happen for a reason, and I was meant to just be home, appreciating my friends, appreciating the family I do have left. I feel lucky that I have those people around me.
He appreciates the opportunity to help people like Renee Eubanks. She won a private lesson with James at a silent auction for the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program.
He fed me a lot of backhands out there, helped me get my rhythm together a lot. So it was definitely a workout because I was working on something that I have a problem with, but also a little bit nervous because I was playing with James.
But she isn't the only one to benefit from tonight's visit by James Blake. So are the children.
I tried to help out at the Harlem Junior Tennis Program when I was 16 years old, just as a tutor in the homework club. So you can help out in many different ways, but I feel like using my time now, if I take 2 or 3 hours to give, I can make a much greater difference just because I have that voice of being the #1 American.
We'll be back in just a moment.